Creative Cooking. Today I'm making butter chicken all the way from India. So grab a seat and join in. We're going to start out with a whole entire pound of chicken breasts, or you can do a combination of chicken thighs and chicken breasts. But then we're going to put in 1 tablespoon of Tandoori Masala. So I got this actually on Amazon because I could not find it in any of the grocery stores in my town. So it's about $5 for this whole packet, which is quite a bit. And not costly, but it gives you a lot, okay? And then we're also going to be using a little bit of tofu for those that are vegetarians, because I always have students that require vegetarian options, so we're going to do that as well. So we're going to put also a tablespoon of this onto the tofu here, okay? So you're going to season it just like you would the other, okay? And we're also going to put a little bit of oil in there, vegetable oil. I'm using actually really nice olive oil, but you can use whatever you want. I do this because it's better for you, and so, but you can use inexpensive vegetable oil if you want to. So we're going to put a whole entire tablespoon of oil on to both of these just to make sure that they get lubricated in the oven, okay? So I put my oven on 375, and we're just going to toss this together and then put it on this sheet pan and put it in the oven for about 18 minutes. So here's my tofu for my vegetarians. I actually do like the tofu better than the chicken. This is really creamy and so wonderful. I love it, okay? And then let's toss these together as well here real quickly. Make sure that this is nice and coated before we put it into the pan here. So let's just put this right on here like so. Move it out here. Make sure that nothing, you know, touches each other too much. Make sure that you spread it out. There we go. All right. So there we go. And make sure that the tofu does not touch the chicken. If you want to do them separately, you can, but in my family, you know, we're all meat eaters, so I'm not going to care if it touches my chicken or whatever, so I'm going to move that over here. But if you are, you know, not wanting any meat in yours, just make sure that you maybe do them on separate sheet pans, okay, in the oven, okay? So just one layer also, make sure that everything is just one. These are going in for about 18 minutes, so let's move it in here and set this on 18 minutes. Hey, you want to join me over here in just a second here? Let's wash this off as well. And I'm going to mince up a clove of garlic here. So we're just going to mince it up real quickly. And I have a hot pan going over here on the stove top. You need 1 clove of garlic and then a half of an onion diced. So we're going to basically start to caramelize these. We want caramelized onions. We're going to be using a grand total of a half of a cup of butter. Yeah, that's why it's called butter chicken, by the way. It makes it really creamy. And it has a reputation for being very, very buttery. Very, very smooth. So we're going to be using 2 tablespoons of this right away. So we're just going to go over to the stove top real quickly. So follow me over here. I'm going to put it on about 6 on the dial here. We're going to melt our butter here. Get this going. Melting. It should melt right away because the pan was kind of hot and I had to turn it off for a second. It got delayed. Can imagine that, right? All right, so that goes in there. Put that in the trash. You can see this is melting here. You want to come over here and look real close? So this is the butter that's melting in the pan right now. Oh, it smells so good already. I love making these videos because I get to, you know, eat with the results, you know, and I love the smells that it creates, and I think, you know, go back and look at the memories of it, and it's wonderful, so I love it. Okay, so here we go. Here is our clove of garlic here. And then we're gonna use, remember, a half of an onion diced, okay? So we're going for caramelized onions, all right? That's what we're going for here. Okay, so these are done, and we're just gonna kind of toss these around using a handy dandy rubber scraper. So I just get in my nice organized drawer there. All right, so just kind of toss this around. It's gonna take about 8 to 10 minutes to caramelize the onions. You don't wanna go on too high a heat here. You don't want them to burn. You just want them to turn brown and get all deep depth of flavor there, right? And then they kind of disintegrate quite a bit as well when they get to that point. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to make the sauce that goes on top of that. So I'm going to get out a pan here. Well, let's use this one right here, right? And we're just gonna put together all the different things that go into the sauce now, okay? So we know that we're going to be using a whole entire cup of whipping cream, okay? That goes right into the pan here. And then we're gonna simmer this for a while so it develops a depth of flavor here. So a whole entire cup of whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream is what I have because I always buy mine from Costco because it's so much cheaper than buying it other places. Also, my tomato sauce comes from Costco too, which is an organic tomato sauce. I absolutely love this. I also like the Trader Joe's kind too, but it's more expensive. So we're going to be using 3/4 of a cup. Okay, let's get down to eye level here. Make sure that we get the right amount. Okay, 3/4 of a cup of tomato sauce here. Okay, so not the whole can, but quite a bit of it. This is gives it a great flavor as well. The tomato sauce does. And remember, we're not doing a 4-hour recipe. We're doing a 48-minute recipe because guess what? My students only get 48 minutes to make this in class, and they do it. And they're 7th and 8th graders. So it's totally possible. Some of my Indian students think that, you know, wow, I don't know if this is going to taste very good, but they absolutely love it. They're like, wow, this is actually really good, and it didn't take very long to make. So you don't have to spend a lot of time making this. It actually is a great depth of flavor, even if you don't make it all day long, right? Okay, so there we go on that. We're going to also add in here. Now you can kind of decide what you want to do, but you do put cayenne pepper in there. And if you want it spicy, you can put more in, okay? And if you don't want it spicy, leave out. So it's a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, okay? So there's our 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper that goes in there, which gives it some heat. So some people like spicy food and some people don't. And so if you don't want spicy food, just you know, do a little bit less. Then the other product that goes in there is Garam Masala. And I bought this at Whole Foods, but you can get it in many different places. But doing 1 teaspoon of Garam Masala. So that's down here, so 1 teaspoon of Garam Masala also goes in here. So not as much. You use a lot of Tandoori, but not as much as the Garam Masala, which this is used quite a bit in Indian cuisine, okay? Garam Masala. Okay, let's stir this up here, and we're going to start simmering this on the stove top. We do need to put a little bit of salt and pepper in there, so follow me over to the stove top. Here we go here. So let's turn this on to about 4 on the dial here. I'm going to put some salt in here. Look at these are starting to caramelize there. Start to burn a little bit too, so I got to turn it down a bit. There we go. Smells so good. Remember, these take about 8 to 10 minutes. They've been cooking for about 3. Not very long. All right. so let's put that there, and let's put a little salt and pepper in here. So we're gonna put in a teaspoon of salt. We gotta salt this up a little bit here. So there's our salt, and we have to put in here some pepper too. So I just eyeball it, just a little bit goes in here, not much, okay? Just about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Okay, let's stir this and start to basically simmer this. So it has to simmer for about 8 minutes, the sauce does, and we'll come back in just a minute. It's time to put the butter into the sauce over here, and make sure that we put our butter into our butter chicken, right? Lots of it, by the way, lots of it. Okay, so this goes in here, and we're gonna kind of melt this down a bit. And I'm using my spoon here. Oops, I think I've got a little bit of plastic still on there. So I'll get that all melted down in there. You notice, look at these onions. Woohoo! Those are caramelized onions. Yes, they are. We're going to put our caramelized onions into, so we have 3 more minutes on the chicken and the tofu. Okay, and we're melting this butter in here. I don't like to put the butter in right away because it kind of can separate, you know, in the sauce. This just gives it time to work in there and not get overworked. You know, makes it smooth and silky and the best texture ever, right? So here we are. It's already melted. That big glob of butter that I just put in there, 6 tablespoons of butter that I put in there. Our other 2 are in here. Okay. So we're going to bring our caramelized onions over here, and we're going to put them into the sauce here. All right. There we go. Ooh. Right full there. I'm going to turn this off real quick and just stir this away. That caramelized onion gives it a great flavor. And that tandoori chicken and tofu is going to make it taste really, really super, super good here. Well, it's time to take the chicken out of the oven and the tofu for the vegetarians, right? And so we're going to pull this right out of here like so. And here we go. Look at that. Ooh. Yum, yum. And we're simmering this right in here. Let's turn that off. Okay, we're simmering this. You can see it's on a slow simmer here. We got it on about 5 on the dial here. About 4.5, 5, somewhere in there. So this is simmering. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put the chicken in here and let it simmer for about 3 more minutes right here. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And let's put our chicken in here and get this going and let it simmer. And you're going to have to take some of the sauce, and if you have it for vegetarians, and take some of the sauce out and mix it in here, all right? And do it that way. Now, the other thing is that because of all the pan juices that you have in here, it is true that you're going to go ahead and lift it up and put it in here. Remember that I don't care if chicken and tofu get mixed, but if you do, you'll have separate pan juice. Throw away pan juices. Never, never, never do that. And the reason why is because a lot of flavor is in there. So we want to make sure that it gets into your sauce. So let's stir, stir, stir on this. So let's use our spoon here to do so. And we're going to give it 3 more minutes here. Okay, 3 more minutes. And then we'll serve it up. Guess what? Best time of the show where we get to try things and dish it up and make it look beautiful. So here we go. Go ahead, and I just made rice in my rice cooker. And we're just going to scoop some up here. Put it right on. Ooh! And I I'm using basmati rice, and boy, it made a mess here, sorry. Ooh, it's been sitting here a while actually, so. All right, so let's do that there. Of our rice kernels here. And then let's set this over here and get our dish here. Remember, we have our tofu here. We're gonna use that. That's what it looks like here. And I'll do a little bit of both so you can kind of see what it looks like here. So we're just gonna put some of the chicken on here. And all of this wonderful sauce. We're gonna do the same thing with the tofu. We'll put it on the other side. There we go. And put some sauce on here. And you would do this if you're a vegetarian a little bit sooner. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to eat this up. So nice having you on Ethnic Creative Cooking. Hope that you come back and try butter chicken as a recipe at home, and I'll see you next week. See you later, bye-bye.